Greetings gamers, this is Raz from CrushOnPixels. I'm going to be showing you a little bit of Darksiders 2. Now this is not a review and it's not a let's play. Those two things are probably going to come up later, but not yet because I'm not really ready to do those things yet. But I was thinking about doing like a real review, like an actual well-developed objective review, not just something thrown together. Hopefully I'll get that done at some point after I've finished the game once, which I'm on my way of doing right now. But I thought for now I'd just give you my first impressions and sort of like a preview of what it's going to be like when I eventually do a let's play or a review. So for starters, well, you can see my character on screen right now. This is Death, of course, who is the main character of the game. I'm at level 11 so far. I don't exactly know how long the game is, but I think I'm about halfway through the game or something like that. Like I said, I don't know exactly, but I think it's about halfway anyway. Or a third or something like that. And I'm basing that solely on when I look at what level my character is, and as I recall, the max level is 30, and I'm not really even sure if you're supposed to reach 30 in one playthrough, but either way, I think I'm about half or a third in or something like that. Let's start talking about a few things. Now, first of all, the story. This is, of course, the sequel to Darksiders 1, which was released a few years ago. I don't know exactly when, by Vigil Gmes and THQ. I really loved the first game. I really enjoyed it. Of course, both games, as many gamers know, are very heavily inspired by Legend of Zelda, both in their design, structure, and things like that. But of course, Darksiders, according to me at least, do a few things a little bit differently from Zelda, so that's why it's unique and why it's especially fun. Aside from the fact that it's available to people who don't have a Nintendo Wii. So yeah, this game is, like I said, the sequel to the previous game, and the previous game was basically about War, who was framed for starting the apocalypse too early. In this game, you play Death, War's brother. They're, of course, the horsemen of the apocalypse. And Death is trying to prove his brother's innocence. And to be honest, so far, the events I've played through, I have no way, I can't see how anything of that has to do with proving that War wasn't guilty. The events in the game so far feel so detached from what the synopsis of the game is. So I hope things pick up as they go. Also, so far in the game, there haven't been too many cutscenes where you talk to characters and big things are revealed, sort of like it was, or well, not really like it was in Darksiders 1, but I was hoping for more like plot-driven, more of heavy emphasis on story, not completely like just story, but at least more than it is now. And there's not really. It's mostly just, here's your adventure, go play it. Which is not a bad thing. The adventure is really good. I'm gonna get more into how the game plays later, but I feel like it looks like Darksiders 1, but it doesn't feel like Darksiders 1. There's something missing. It's entirely different in its feeling, I think. One thing that I noticed is that while Darksiders 1 took place in sort of like cities, human cities, ruined of course, but nevertheless human cities, it felt a lot more familiar. This game so far hasn't taken place in anything even remotely similar to human structures. It's all either forest or barren lands or enchanted ruins of people who existed billions of years before humans and blah blah blah. It doesn't feel familiar like Darksiders 1 did. And it doesn't feel like it's connected to humans at all. Like the story is about how War was responsible for starting the apocalypse and killing off humanity, but there's very little humanity in this game. Granted, it's not about humanity, it's about proving War's innocence, but you'd think that there would be some connection there at least. So yeah, not much else to say. For those of you who play the game, I can tell you how far I've gotten into the game. I've just opened the door that leads to the tree, the enchanted tree or whatever it's called. So I just defeated one of the biggest bosses in the entire game. He's a freaking skyscraper. He's giant. Very fun boss battle once you actually figure out how to do it. So yeah, I should mention that the boss battles in this game are fantastic. So if you like boss battles, get this game. So on to a little bit about the game. As you can see, this is my character screen, so you can see my level and all that stuff, and you can see what abilities I've acquired during my playthrough. So these two right here, which is Dust and Despair, these are my companions. They were with me from the start. I didn't acquire them. They were with me. In Darksiders 1, you had to acquire your horse. He didn't have a bird, but here I had them from the beginning. Now, Dust sort of serves like if you've played Fable 2 or 3. Dust is sort of like the dog, only far less developed. You don't interact with the bird or anything like that. There's no emotional bond or anything like that. He just basically flies in the direction where you need to go, and you just follow him. So that's about it. That's the extent of it. The horse, you know, there's a huge detachment from these pets, or whatever I should call them. You don't actually, you know, there's no plot elements involving them where they're caught and you have to save them or anything like that. You know, I wish there was, but I guess it maybe wouldn't make sense and it wouldn't fit into the story overall. Now these weapons or these items I did have to acquire, and they help me to traverse the battlefield and well the world, and also give me abilities in battle that I didn't have when I started the game. The redemption is the first one, which is the Strife, one of the four. The brother of death, another brother. Of course, there are 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, and there's one sister also, but Fury, I think her name is. But this is Strife's gun. You don't actually meet Strife. Somehow, it just appeared in game. It appeared in the area where you are. It was a little bit weird, but I'm thinking maybe it'll be revealed how it got there later in the game. And of course you get the death grip, which is a way to reach places you wouldn't otherwise be able to reach. I'm still really missing the double jump. I really want the double jump, especially the gliding double jump that you get in Darksiders 1. I really hope we get that soon, or I get that soon, because if that's missing from the game, it's gonna feel like, ugh, I really like double jumps and gliding, because there are places I'd like to reach that I could only reach if I had that. So I hope I get that. I hope it's in the game. So on to the other stuff. Now, one inclusion in Darksiders 2 that wasn't in Darksiders 1 was the inclusion of loot. There's a loot system, a very well developed loot system in fact. And I'll show it to you right here. This is my inventory screen. Now you can collect different kinds of scythes, which is your primary weapon, and then you can have a secondary weapon, which is either a mace, hammer, axe, and then there are 2 variations of a secondary weapon, which is slow or fast. The maces and the hammers and stuff, they are very slow, but deal much more damage, versus the fast ones like these gauntlets and stuff, which deal a little bit less or less damage, but much faster at a much faster rate, even faster than the scythe. So they're well balanced, I would say. So of course, like in other loot games, there is a color system that tells you how rare the item is. Purple, blue, pretty rare. Green, not very rare, and so on. And then there's also possessed weapons, which have this reddish color, I suppose, but the text is sort of like yellowish. Possessed weapons are very unique because they are basically weapons that are alive. You can feed other items into possessed items to level them up. And at each level, you can select one of the attributes from the weapons you fed it to add to your possessed weapon. So it's a very good customizing feature. You can really make it your own. You can create a weapon that fits your playstyle, and it's just really well thought out. I thoroughly enjoyed that particular part. They did it very well. So That's basically the loot system. You have primary, secondary weapons. You have armor pieces with like shoulder guards, waist guards, or whatever it's called, and then you have gloves and boots, and you get a talisman or an amulet of some sort. So that's about it as far as those go. Of course, there are legendary items and stuff like that that you collect throughout the game by completing special missions, I think. I personally, or anyone who's finished Darksiders 1, it will read your save file and know that you finished the game, and it will give you extra items, weapons that you wouldn't otherwise get in the game, like the Chaos Fang, which is a fantastic scythe in the beginning of the game. Here it is. This weapon is actually overpowered at the beginning of the game, but slowly loses its value. I'm still sort of... I have a little while ago started using my possessed weapon, but before that, this Chaos Fang is absolutely astounding. If you're worried about it being difficult at the beginning, it's not going to be, especially if you have this weapon. It's absurd how incredibly overpowered it is. Like you see, it gives you 200% critical damage, and it has a 20% critical chance. So, it'll blow any enemy at the beginning of the game away. And you also get this pauldron right here. The pauldron of the horseman, which is also awarded to you if you completed Darksiders 1. So very awesome, very cool. If you don't have these games, I think the normal is normal difficulty basically, but with these games it's actually, it might almost feel like it's broken how easy it is, but it's not broken. It's actually pretty well balanced, especially as you start to level up. I'm like I said, I'm at level 11, and they just started losing their value for me. I switched out the pauldron a little while ago for one of these shrouds, which is really good. So yeah, those are the basic loot system. Also, when I bought the game, I bought it from a specific vendor, and I got like a billion codes that you can redeem to get extra stuff in the game. It's actually quite annoying that there are that many. I think I used like 6 codes. 6 freaking codes. There are 6 things in the game that I wouldn't have gotten if I didn't have those codes. That would drive me crazy. The games really these days need to stop focusing so much on DLC and codes. It's insane. So yeah, I mean, just stop doing it. We don't need this many codes. I was really frustrated putting in 6 freaking codes. So okay, I'm not gonna get into a rage about that now. So onto the character development. You have, of course, you level up, so at each level you get a skill point, and you can assign it to one of these skills that you see on the screen here. There are two categories for skills. There's Harbinger and Necromancer. I've so far only focused on Harbinger, so I can't say much about Necromancer, but Necromancer basically focuses on necromantic powers, like summoning ghouls and zombies and stuff, and using your... apparently you can use Dust, which is your bird, to do attacks and stuff. So aside from that, it's really pretty straightforward as far as a skill tree. You get one skill and you can add features to it, and then you get another skill and add features to that, all under a certain category, either Harbinger or Necromancer. Like I said, I've only focused on Harbinger so far. I don't really use it that much. I keep forgetting that I even have it. The one notable feature about this particular skill, which is actually called a teleport slash, is that it can heal you every time it hits. And that's the only thing I really use it. Not even for damage. I use it to heal myself, and the problem is it doesn't heal enough, so I end up not using this skill at all. In fact, I just use my basic combos to win battles. Occasionally, if it's really powerful, I'll go into the Chaos form, which you might remember from Darksiders 1. So yeah, the skill tree, pretty basic. You can level up each of them and add attributes to them. There's not really much else to say on them, and I can't really get into the Necromancer part because I haven't played it. And then there's the world map, and that's about it. So yeah, my overall impression of the game so far, and here's my character, by the way. I'm in what I think is the only city hub in the game. Ignore the flames, that's story related. I won't reveal what it's about. So yeah, my overall impression so far is that the game is really, really good. I'm enjoying it thoroughly. I've put in about 10 to 15 hours, somewhere around that area. into it, and I want to play more. I want to continue the story or continue playing. It's very enjoyable. It's very reminiscent of Zelda. It feels like Zelda, especially when you go into battle mode like this. You see, you can target an enemy, and then the camera positions itself so that you can see yourself in that character especially. But with the amount of enemies that you can get in game, it gets kind of difficult to aim at one enemy and then run around him, because the other enemies can end up behind you or something like that, and you can't even notice if they're going to attack you to avoid like you do like this. So yeah, sort of like Zelda, but it has its own flares. And this is my character, as you saw him in the character screen. Very badass. Have the freaking sides right here, yeah, and then my secondary weapon, which is this giant legendary hammer thing. Yeah, that's my overall impression. It's very good. I can highly recommend you go and buy it, especially if you like action-adventure games like Zelda, or this Metroidvania thing where you visit an overworld and then you can revisit places you visited before with new abilities to reach places you weren't able to reach earlier. Like Metroidvania, which I'm a huge fan of. I love Castlevania games. So yeah, I recommend it. It's very good. So, like I said, I'm probably going to do a review at some point, a much more detailed and well-developed review, and there's going to be a Let's Play after I finish this playthrough, because I want to be familiar with it. The idea from the beginning was that I was going to play it fresh, blind, but I didn't want to, basically because recording it kept interrupting me, and I just wanted to play the freaking game. I was excited to play the game, so I'm just gonna focus on enjoying it first before I start recording it. Of course, gonna enjoy it while recording it as well, but at least it won't be this interruption of an epic adventure that I want to experience. So yeah, stay tuned for that. If you like this first impression video that I did so far, I might do others if you like this one. Just like and subscribe, leave a comment, tell me what you think, and yeah, stay tuned for the review and the Let's Play. And most of all, thank you for watching. I'm Raz from CrushOnPixels. I'll see you next time.
To go alone. Huh?